If you're a zillennial and you're feeling like the world that you grew up in is disappearing right before your very eyes, I promise you, you're not alone. Party City just announced that after 40 years in business, they're closing all of their stores pretty much effective immediately. They're having all out the door sales and everything. And after that, they're going to be completely gone. How do we go from stores like Party City, stores where we had tangible in-store experiences, stores that we could just walk into and have fun just in the actual store, to nothing? We're going to have nothing. Us as millennials are going through a complete culture shock because the world that we learned that we would have to grow into has completely vanished. So what did you do as a kid when you wanted to plan for a party? You go to Party City. They had balloons. They had custom letters of balloons. They had streamers. They had plates. They had everything that you needed to start a party. I mean, it was so easy back then to even start a business because all you had to do was just find things that people wanted. Open up a store, make a good experience, and you have customers. You have 40 years of business that they got out of that. They had everything that you could possibly want. Everybody has some sort of memory going to a store and just having fun in the store. Every weekend from like pre-K up to like second or third grade for me, it was either me by myself with my family, my friends, somebody at Blockbuster every single weekend. Every single Friday, we were in the Blockbuster deciding what we wanted to pick. We could only rent so many movies, so we were trying to make sure that we picked the right thing. We were picking up Yu-Gi-Oh cards, picking up whatever bubble gum or trading cards or whatever else they had there. And it was a complete experience. We couldn't wait to go back to the Blockbuster to see what they had. And you know how you look at movies? How do you look to rent a movie now?
You still don't have Netflix?
Netflix is the best because it shows up in my mail and then there's no late fees.
I remember when Netflix first started. My family had Netflix. We would order a movie in the mail. It would get there. We would put it back in the mail. And that was great. We didn't have to go to the store. Yeah, that was a little bit easier than Blockbuster, but it still has some of the same principles that Blockbuster had. Now, we all pay a subscription fee that goes up every couple months to Netflix, where we just scroll through line after line after line after line of nothing. Nothing is there. Nothing. You don't want to watch anything that's actually on Netflix. You just kind of feel compelled. Eventually, you just click something because you're like, I mean, I'm paying an arm and a leg, so I might as well just watch this to see if it's palatable, to see if I even care about it. The magic of walking into a store and seeing a display of whatever movie they just got, of not being able to even see the movie the last 3 or 4 months because it's been out of theaters, and then all of a sudden it's in Blockbuster now, and the entire experience is completely gone now. Everything is so bland. And speaking of bland, look at our social media. Everything on social media these days is to make things as seamless and as easy for the user to scroll through as possible. Everything is the same thing. Scroll, 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 scroll. Next picture. Everything is the exact, you're having the same experience on every single site you're at. What happened to MySpace when we had our top 8s? What happened to MySpace when we could literally customize our page? It was kids coding. They talk about getting kids to code these days. Well, MySpace had kids coding. We were designing our pages. We were taking things out, adding in buttons, every kind of HTML coding, editing thing that you can think of. People were learning on MySpace in their free time. You could add music to your page. Your page was completely unique. When people got to your page, it played your favorite music. It was literally a reflection of everything that is you. Now the only thing different between people's pages is their profile picture and whatever information they have there. It is not, we don't value creating experiences anymore. And it's just everything has to be so buttoned up. Everything has to be so reformed. Everything has to be so sleek and minimalist. Now our phones, that's obviously a completely different story. Our phones, at least my phone, I mean, I'm not part of the iPhone gang, but at least on my phone, I can customize everything I want about that phone. But my thing is this, our older phones more fit today's era than the newer phones. If you think about it, you're seeing all types of videos on YouTube of people saying, I went back to a flip phone for 2 weeks. I went to a notebook for 2 weeks because they were simple. You could call.
Can you hear me now?
You could snap low quality pictures. It wasn't going to replace your camera. And occasionally, if you had rich family, if you were rich, you know, you could go out and get a phone that allows you to browse the internet in slow motion. So you weren't always on the internet on your phone. I mean, you could send emails, but you weren't always on the internet on your phone. And even though we get a ton of benefit from having our phones, and I'm grateful that we have phones the way we have them now, it almost makes more sense to go back to that minimalist thing because it fits everything else we're doing right now. So I can understand why people are just going back in time and picking up flip phones. And also, who doesn't like the sensation of like aggressively flipping and aggressively closing a phone? Remember, we used to be able to go to the mall and talk about an experience. I don't know about you all, but we had roller coasters in the mall. We had many roller coasters, but roller coasters nonetheless in the mall. You could have free food. I haven't been at a food court and people come out and offer me free food in years. You would have free food there. You would be able to walk around that mall all day with your friends. You would be able to basically have an entire day at the mall, and I'm sure kids still do it, but it was a lot more common when we were younger to go to the mall and actually do everything that you want to do there and have experiences and not even pay an arm and a leg. Oh yeah, and malls were colorful. Everything was colorful. The floors were more colorful. The ceilings, the walls were more colorful. Business logos are more colorful. Like, you go into stores these days based on, you know, what you saw on TikTok or what your friend told you to do. Back in the day, you would go into stores because the sign was so colorful that you were like, I have to see what's going on in there, because it looks so colorful that I need to explore why that's standing out so much to me. But now all the colors gone, everything's minimalist. Everything is, let's see how I can make a logo with the least lines possible. And having color as part of your marketing, at least extreme color, is just very rare at this point. So let's recap this section here. Zillennials, we were raised in a tactile world, and now we live in a world where we don't touch anything until it gets into our house. So developmentally, our brains were trained to experience the world one way. As soon as we got used to it, the world shifted to this entire other way. We grew up communicating a certain way. We would make a phone call, we hang up the phone, the experience would be over. We'd be texting, but for the most part, you're not gonna really be clicking all of those numbers to turn into letters all day long. So for the most part, you kind of got a break every once in a while from text. When someone calls you, you didn't have to go get dressed because you're FaceTiming somebody, which is another reason I probably don't want an iPhone, is because I don't want people all up in my business. But anyway, you used to have some sort of boundary between you and other people, and it's becoming more and more seamless. I mean, even on things like Instant Messenger, we would be on Instant Messenger, but eventually we would log off and you would see like, this person has logged off. So whether it be communicating with each other or even doing things like putting a DVD in the DVD player, having to go find a DVD, having to go find a VHS to put in the VHS player. Well, guess what? We had to work a lot more to get dopamine. We had to work a lot more to get things done. We had to do a lot more work to be able to talk to people and watch TV and watch movies. But now we're in a society where there's not much difference between social media, the internet, and our real life. It's really one and the same. People say they're different things, and there's truth to that, but also there's not much difference between the two. The worst part about all of this is that we're in the middle of it. We didn't get to fully grow up or even grow up into being a teenager before this major shift happened. This happened as we were really developing our kid brains, who are also not young enough to have been born into this digital world. A lot of kids, a lot of teenagers right now do not know what the world looked like before like 2008 or whenever we switched to digital programming. And then mix this in with the fact that a lot of Gen Zs either have Gen X or Boomer parents. Those are two different parenting styles. A lot of Gen X parents were kind of hands off because they were the latchkey generation, and they were kind of hands off. Their kids had a lot more freedom. And then you have the Boomer parent. There's a lot more structure. There was the whole give every kid a gold star. There was all that kind of thing going on with Boomers. And then the Boomer parents were a little older than the Gen X parents. And then do your parents even mesh well together? Like, can you go to their house and they come to your house and the parents actually like each other with that age difference? There was a lot of sort of conflict, now that I look back, between parents of different ages that we all really had to deal with. I mean, we're kind of at the cusp of this generation. So that means our parents are at the cusp of Boomer and Gen X. So what do we call those? Consumers with an X. This gives us a very unique way of seeing the world and being able to adapt to things, because we had to adapt to our environment as literal kids. So we can fix problems that are digital and problems that aren't digital pretty easily. Like, I found a CD from when I was a kid and it wouldn't work. So what did I do? I thought of the YouTube videos I watched in like 2007 where I put literal toothpaste on the CD, let it sit, and then wash the toothpaste off, let the CD dry, and all of a sudden the CD's working. If my phone breaks down, I can figure out how to do that too. I can figure out how to pretty much fix any sort of problem, whether it's, digital, whether it's analog, whether it falls under anything. If this clock behind me breaks down, I know how to set a clock. That's another thing that probably lost the art of. When new technology comes out, I feel like we learn it pretty quickly. I feel like the older Gen Zs learn TikTok pretty quickly. I feel like when things come out that are new, we're so used to new things coming out every single week or every single year and things evolving so quickly that we pick it up almost instantly. So being stuck in the middle can definitely be annoying, but it's also a huge advantage. So when I saw Party City was closing, this made me think of everything from my childhood that is gone, and Party City is the final nail in the coffin of our childhood, of the world that we knew that is no longer. Yes, we're caught in the middle. Yes, it's very frustrating seeing the world that we came up in completely disappear. But if we just share with the rest of the world the talent and the perspective that we have, I really think that we can make this world as fun as it used to be. And if you need help on being yourself, check out this video here.